Hello and welcome to Landscape Photography World. I'm Grant Swinburne and I'll be your host on this show discussing the world of landscape photography. This time I'll be talking to Matt Cameron of 006.pics about his landscape photography journey. Matt is from Sydney, but now lives in the Southern Highlands and looks to create unique compositions wherever he shoots. Known for his shots of Sydney's icons, as well as surf and waterscapes, waterfalls and even outback scenes, his work is always worth looking at. Matt talks about how he got started with photography during his days in the Australian Army and tells us about some other great artists whom he admires. I hope you enjoy the show. G'day Matt, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well. And you?
Yeah, getting there. It's bit quiet and not being able to get out and shoot, but you know that's the way of the world at the moment.
Yeah, luckily for me, I'm not actually in lockdown, so
Yeah,
I'm a little bit out of Sydney, or far enough out of Sydney, in the Southern Highlands, that I don't actually have to worry about lockdown unless I come up. So
nice.
I'm sort of free to travel south, but that's about it.
Yeah, south or west maybe.
Even it's a long way to go around to the west though. So
yeah, you got to go a fair way around the houses.
Yeah, that's it. It's a fair drive. So
yeah, fair enough. So when was the last time you were out shooting?
mate, I went to Mogo Zoo last week. Something a little bit different.
Okay, yeah.
So just one of those days where I thought, good to get out, even though I don't like rubbing it in people's faces. I don't think that's the right way to go about it. But I just thought I needed to get out. So I took it's about a 3-hour drive from here.
Yep, okay.
And I went down to Mogo, mate, spent the day there.
Yeah.
And it's different shooting animals.
A bit different.
Good. I enjoy it.
Bit different to your normal landscapes, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a timing issue and varying angles and whatnot, and
faster shutter speeds, if nothing else.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the whole thing with the zoo is you just got to wait for the animal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
so it's worse than waiting for a big swell, I think.
Yeah.
So tough trying to get the angle you want.
Yeah, definitely. So talking about what you normally shoot rather than animals, and I don't mean shooting them. I mean taking photos of them.
That's been a while.
Yeah. You're well known for your iconic Sydney Harbour shots and dreamy sunrises and sunsets, waterfalls, but also a bit of outback stuff, just about everything landscape. So is there anything you don't do?
Mate, I just like to get around. That's what it comes down to. I get obviously with the harbour stuff. I lived in Cremorne for 6 years, so it was pretty easy just to sort of peek out the window and see what was going on and go, right, it's going to be good. And I could be on the harbour within sort of 3 to 4 minutes, which was nice.
Yeah.
Everything else took a bit of extra planning, but mate, anyone that knows me knows that I'll drive 6 hours to get a photo and drive home the same day. It's a bit crazy like that, but I find driving quite soothing. And, put on the old Spotify playlist, mate, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, happy man. So talking about driving, what drives you, and what do you look for in a location to get that unique perspective that you get?
What drives me, mate? For me, I find probably what drives me is just being outdoors.
Yep.
I find that to be the best part. I've been in the army or was in the army for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
I spend a lot of time outdoors, and I find that's where I'm at home the most. I don't like being cooped up as everyone's feeling at this stage. So I fully understand how people feel. But I just like to go out and see new places too, you know. So that's a big driving factor, is to go somewhere new and have the challenge of shooting somewhere new and scouting new places, and you know, you always try and come up with that unique composition. You know, and it's pretty hard to do these days with Instagram, because a lot of people, you know, a lot of photographers on there, and I find, you know, especially around the harbour and stuff, you know, like just there's not too many compositions that
haven't been done before.
So if you find one, it's pretty rare.
Yeah,
you know, so,
and once you do, everyone else is piling onto it, aren't they?
That's it, and that's a good thing, you know. That's the best form of flattery, isn't it? It's
absolutely
someone's copying you. So, but look, that's probably what drives me the most, is just getting outdoors and seeing new places and going from there.
Yeah. So, what would you describe your style as? How would you describe it? Do you have one?
Lazy.
Lazy.
Mate, I don't know. I just go there and I don't know that I have a style. I'm definitely into long exposure, so that's probably, you know, and I'm happy to sit there behind the camera for, you know, and chock in the filters, and do a 10-minute, you know, expo. So, I don't know that I have a style, because I change so often. I go to different places, and I think over time, like everybody, you see your skills change, and you see the way you shoot change. Like from the way I shot, I was only looking through hard drives the other day in boredom, and I just looked back at some of the photos and cringe, you know. So I think you definitely your style probably advances, and you probably get a little bit better at composition and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know that I could actually say that I had a style, because I just go to so many varying places. So
fair enough.
Change it up.
So what are you looking for when you're trying to get that comp? You know, whether it's a unique one or one that you've shot before. What are the elements you're trying to pull together?
Well, I mean, like everyone, mate, we're always looking for that perfect sky, aren't we? So you know, you're looking for those amazing sunrises or amazing sunsets. Flowing water never hurts, you know. But I look for, you know, I think it's important to have an interesting foreground.
Yep.
It's not always needed, but I think it just draws someone into a picture.
Yeah.
You know, so if you've got that, you know, it could be just a rock, could be a couple of rocks, you know, it could be something underwater. If you just got that interesting foreground, once it draws you into the picture, and then just takes you in, and then you start to see the other little things. So, yeah, probably interesting foregrounds are probably the one thing I sort of probably look for the most these days, and it's probably the one thing that I've probably changed about my photography the most over the last few years, is looking for that, you know, that little X factor in the front of the photo.
Yeah, fair enough. What about your shooting sort of workflow? What are you doing when you set up? You know, it's obviously not just plop the tripod down and bang away.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it
sometimes
depends.
that works best.
I mean, if you turn up late for a fantastic sunrise, you know, it's like just getting.
That doesn't happen, mate. I'm ex-soldier. I'm 10 minutes before, 10 minutes early. So I'd rather get there at 3 a.m. and be 2 hours early for sunrise than be 5 minutes late. So
fair enough.
Yeah, mate. Again, I just I'll probably pull up, and if I've been there before, I've usually got a fair indication of where I want to go and where I want to set up. If I haven't, I actually like to go during the day. So
go on a scouting trip first. And
that's right, mate.
Suss it out.
Might just go away for the weekend and scout different places, and
sure.
Pull out the old phone, drop a few pins, you know, and look for where the sun and stuff is going to rise or set, and all that sort of stuff. And if you can, you know, if you can sort of get, even if you go early and then you sort of pull that late afternoon into astro, into sunrise, if you can manage to stay awake, you know, or get a couple of hours keep in the car, you're good to go. So, yeah, probably just go on a scouting mission, if anything, if I can. have a look around. And that way I've just got a fair idea on where I want to pull up. There's nothing worse than trying to fumble around in the dark, especially there's other photographers around and you got a headlamp on or something, pissing everyone off. So.
Yeah. Flashing everyone else's.
That's right. And you know what it's like yourself when you're out there, mate. And someone's running around with a torch, and you just want to go over and strangle them. So.
Yeah, I was shooting up at Hornby Light there a few months ago, and there were these rock fishermen down on the shelf underneath the cliff there, all with headlamps on, and I managed to get a really nice one with 3 of them where the headlamps came out like the little starbursts. Yeah, that didn't look too bad, but there was a bunch of shots that were just these horrible white squiggles all over the rocks.
Squiggles. Yeah, I got that not long ago at Nora Head Lighthouse.
Yep.
And I was shooting from the other side of Hargraves Beach at Soldiers Point there, sort of across the beach and up to the lighthouse. And there's about 6 fishermen out there on the headland, and it was just a waste of time. They're everywhere. You can't even Photoshop them out there. They're just all over the place. So.
That's it.
Mate, that's photography, isn't it? That's the challenge.
Well, that's the challenge. If you don't want to, I mean, you can make them a feature if you can work it, but sometimes it's impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, that's it. So, you mentioned you were in the army for a bit. Do you want to tell us a bit more about your time in the forces?
Yeah, mate. I joined in '95. Pretty lucky as far as the army goes, because I don't know if anyone knows much about it, but army recruiters tell lies.
No kidding.
You can be anything you want to be, and it's you can be now, but back then it was a case of they say, oh yeah, you can be that and you can be this, but you literally can't. You get there and
you get told what to do.
Say, oh, these are the positions. Yeah, well, these are the positions we got, and you're going to fill one of them, and it's up to you how well you go in training as to whether you get a position you want or whether you get a position that we're going to put you in. So
isn't it usually if you can cook you get a gun put in your hand, and if you can't cook you get put in the
mate, there's no one that can cook in the army, let me tell you that much. Mate, so I wanted to become a combat engineer, and I became a combat engineer, which was good. And then through that I learned that there's varying branches of combat engineers, and you can be you can blow up bombs and whatnot. I chose to find them, so I became a dog handler. So I did that for quite a while.
Oh wow!
I was lucky enough to do the counter-terrorism and all that sort of stuff for Sydney Olympics and a few other sort of live gigs, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
From there, I left dogs and I went into multimedia.
Okay.
So the multimedia side of things is where I really first picked up a camera.
Right.
So you do a short phase on your multimedia course, 2-week course in black and white wet photography.
Yep.
Which I find has been a massive help to me. I think you learn the camera and the workings behind the camera a lot better by using film.
Yeah,
developing your own film.
You get to understand the workings of aperture and exposure and all that sort of thing. And it
gave me a real healthy understanding of basically how the camera works and your aperture and your ISO, and you don't have that benefit of the digital camera. You got to get it right.
Yeah, you got to get it right in wet. Roll of film. Yeah, in wet shooting.
So you got to get it right in the camera, and then even the challenge of dodging and burning under the lights. When you're exposing a photo, I found quite challenging, and it was good fun, and I really enjoyed it. And
what was it like the first time you saw an image of yours coming out on the paper?
Yeah, it was good, mate. We did a lot of different.
I just find it amazing. So. Yeah, you look. I did it a lot younger. I was probably about 14, I think, the first time I did it, and it was just blew my mind.
Yeah, mate, it is quite. It's quite amazing. Yeah, I loved it, and like I said, we we got a lot of different stuff. They teach you, because you're basically being taught how to become a media photographer, a journo sort of thing, you know. So
photojournalism.
You have to do everything. So you have to go and shoot animals. We have to go shoot people. We have to shoot sport. We shot landscape. And we crammed that all into 2 weeks, which is, you know, we were probably shooting 7 or 8 rolls of film a day. Wow. And then we're in the dark room at night trying to produce photos. And we did a little bit of video in there as well. So that's sort of where I gathered the interest. And then probably about 6 months later, after I'd finished my course, I went back and I did the military photographer's course, which was 6 weeks long. So a little bit more time and a little bit more in depth, and really sort of, and then I was lucky enough to go to a special operations unit with a big budget, and we were just sort of kicking off. And they pretty much gave me an open-ended budget and said, go buy a camera system.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, actually said go buy 2 camera systems, so I had to double up.
Yeah.
And at the time, I can't even remember what I bought. They were Nikons when I bought them.
Yeah.
That's sort of what the military was tending to use at the time.
Yep.
So I bought these Nikons, and mate, they were great cameras, and I probably bought stuff that we never even used, but I went everything from fisheye lens all the way up to, you know, telephoto. With, you know, 2 times converters, all with the idea in mind that I could use these on weekends, I think. So that sort of never really came about. And I took a lot of photos for the unit.
Yeah.
And then I sort of got out of the military and I went overseas to Iraq to work for several years.
Okay.
So
you did that outside of the military?
Yeah, I went. I sort of got stuck in a role where I was never going to go overseas with the army anymore.
Yep.
In the role that I was in, and I thought, stuff that, I'm not going to let everyone have all the fun. So I got out, went over. I went for 3 weeks the first time to fill in for a guy.
Yeah.
And I pretty much came home 5 years later. So.
Oh wow.
It 3 weeks.
That must have been an incredible experience, though.
No, it was great. It gave me the opportunity, A, to make a lot of money, B, to buy a brand new camera system for myself. And I went Olympus at that stage.
Right, yep.
And I was the first one to bring out the curved chip and the 4/3.
The micro 4/3 sensors,
Mate, I was into it. And, I went right into Olympus and, I had a massive camera kit and, you know, I was just banging out photos over that. And I think if anyone who's seen my stories in the last couple of weeks on, you would have seen a lot of those. Yeah, you would have seen a lot of those shots from. I managed to get in Baghdad. A lot of ways from the big camera. I used to carry a little Olympus rugged thing that, you know, because you're actually out, you know, working. I shouldn't have been carrying a big camera. I'm trying to work a dog. So.
Yeah.
But mate, that's pretty much how I went from army to photographer.
Wow. Yes. And so are you doing it, I mean, is it part-time? Is it a job? Is it what is your photography to you? Is it just a hobby?
Mate, it's my time.
Your time,
Yeah, it's my peace and quiet. It's my get away from other humans.
Yep.
You know, I quite often, you know, if I go somewhere and shoot and people are there and I know, I'm happy to have a chat and I'm happy to meet new people, but quite often, mate, I'm just that other bloke at the other end of the beach by myself, just taking photos. You know, I like to go and do it for me. You know, and for me, it's I don't do it to sell photos. Like if you sell them, that's fantastic. You know, like of course everyone wants to see their prints on someone else's wall. It's a great achievement.
Yep.
But for me, mate, you know, if you sell them, you sell them. But I just do it for me, and you know, I'll get the occasional one printed, and I'll put it on the wall, and that'll last so long, and then I'll be sick of that, and that'll get shafted to my mum's place, and then I just buy, you know, I'll print something new and put that up, and you know, So as you get rid of old ones, they just go out to the family. So the family do well out of it.
Nice.
Made a few puzzles. I got approached by my puzzle project last year to do some puzzles. So I made a couple. They made 200 puzzles actually.
Wow.
But it was just to the one shot of the Harbour Bridge. So there's plenty of those if anyone wants a Harbour Bridge puzzle in lockdown. But, yeah, mate, I just like to do it for me. I just find it relaxing from where to go, from the drive there to, scouting it, to taking the photo, to the post-processing. It's all, I enjoy it all. I can sit behind a computer and muck around with a photo for hours. Sometimes it takes you, as you know, you can look at a photo and go, it doesn't really need a lot, and you do 5 minutes.
Yep.
And other photos, you can sit there for 5 hours. And just play around.
It's funny. I find both of those quite rewarding. I really love it when you sort of nail it in camera and you go, yep, doesn't need anything. All I got to do is go bish bosh, bit of contrast, and you're away. A bit of sharpening.
If you can do that, you're doing your job well.
But yeah, I mean, I also quite like some of the ones that you do spend 4, 5, 6 hours. I got a big print on the wall at the moment of Summersby Falls, and it's just got all of these details in it. And it's a massive 1.5 metre by 1 metre print. So I had to do a lot of work to make sure that when I blew it up, that it was actually going to look good with all the detail in it without being over sharp and all that sort of thing. So and make sure that the colours didn't get distorted with the contrast and all those sorts of things. So I love spending the time on it to build it. But to be honest, I mean, the shot itself for posting on Instagram or whatever, I think the original I'd probably spent about 15 minutes, 20 minutes on it.
Exactly.
When I first did it. But when I decided, all right, no, I'm going to make a print out of it. This is what I'm going to do with it. That's where the real work started for me.
Yeah, that's right. And I think places like Summersby, depending on where you shoot, but if you're shooting from the bottom, there's so much depth in that picture.
Yeah.
That you need to make sure that each you got a focus stack and to make sure that each part is nice and sharp, and then as sort of you get to the top of the fall, it starts getting really dark, so you got to give it a little bit more time. And so there's a lot to think about when you do. So it's definitely just not go take one photo.
I never take one photo.
I'm the worst. If I had to pay for film, I'd be broke.
Thank
God for digital.
You can probably see
ad clicker.
The old Minolta behind me. That was my first SLR.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, okay.
I've still got it there, and I almost went broke with that thing. Yeah, just in film, but and developing costs, because I could never afford the setup.
You still got to get your photo.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, I could never afford the setup to develop them myself. So the cost of taking them down to the chemist or the newsagent to get them sent away for a week, and get these little 5x8s back.
Yeah. And then it comes back and sorry, mate, you didn't roll it on properly, or you're all white or you're all black. Or,
well, the first 4 images have got got white streaks on them from where you haven't quite got the camera closed before you got the film across.
Yeah, mate, I've made every mistake there was when it come to putting film in a camera. And there's no second chances when you're using film. That's the unfortunate thing.
No, that's it. You ruin it. You ruin it.
Yeah. And that's what comes back to earlier, saying that it just gave me that better understanding. I can literally rock up on site, have a camera setting in mind, and start shooting out decent photos. It just comes with time and experience.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So whereabouts?
I still shoot plenty of overexposed.
So whereabouts do you like to shoot? Do you have a favourite spot?
Mate, for a long time, as everyone would know, was Cape Solander. I live there. That place is amazing. I actually went down there with my ex. She was the first one that sort of showed it to me, and mate, it's just it's a great place to watch the sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little fisherman hut there that you can jump under, and try and dodge the tourists if you can get a decent photo out of there. So I love Cape Solander. I love the outback. Don't get there as often as I want, but if I could, I'd live there. I think I love the Flinders. The Flinders is amazing.
Yep.
Uluru, everyone talks about Uluru, and you see pictures of it, but I think it doesn't really hit you until you go there. And once you're there, you just go, wow, it is a very special place. And you can understand why the Indigenous people think that one are so protective over it, because it's just this massive rock in the middle of nowhere. It's it lights up, and it's pretty magical, I found. That's another one of those places, mate. I decided on Friday that I wanted to go to Uluru, and by Monday morning I'd wrangled up 3 other blokes and a motorhome, and we were off.
Nice.
And I didn't come back for a week. We pretty much just drove there. It was me and Henry from HRM Photography and 2 mates and a dog. We took a dog. Mate, it pretty much took us 3 days to drive there. I think we got there just on sunset. We shot sunset. We shot sunrise. We drove out to Kings Canyon the next day. We came back. We did sunset for a little bit, and then we started driving home. So we didn't waste any time. It was a 6-day turnaround. A lot of driving, but it was an adventure, mate. That's what it's about.
I can imagine.
And same with Flinders. I just decided I was going to go to the Flinders, and I drove to the Flinders in a day. I think I parked up at what's the lake there with all the dead trees, Lake Bonnie.
Lake Bonnie, yeah.
So I parked up there the first night and Lake Bonnie Riverland there, and I was lucky enough to get a really good sunset. And
nice.
Took some great pics of the dead trees and stuff, and I did sunrise. And then the next day, mate, I was at the house at Burra, taking photos of the old Midnight Oil House, and I got some great shots there with the drone. And a few days later, I was back with the big camera, and in between, I did everything else around Flinders, Parachulna, Razorback.
Fantastic.
Visual Still, I was everywhere. What a place. Hot. And it's not the place to go if you don't like flies.
No. Well, I mean, most of the outback is not the place to go if you don't like.
Yeah, mate. They just drive you crazy. In the middle of the day,
they don't give up, the little buggers, do
they? No. If you get anywhere near sheep, mate, they just go tenfold.
Mate,
it was great. I loved it.
So with all, go on. Sorry.
I was just going to say, so sort of, well, I guess I don't have a favourite. So I love shooting water, but I love shooting the outback. And now I've sort of got a newfound love for sort of that in between. Now that I'm in the Highlands, I can just duck down the road, and, I can go from a sort of little country setting to, orange and red leaves and Highland cattle, and there's everything you want down here. Waterfalls,
Belmore Falls, Carrington Falls,
mate. I'm 30 minutes from Belmore, and probably about 35 from Carrington. Duck across into Kangaroo Valley, and then before you know it, you've crossed the valley and you're in Kiama. So
that's it. There's some great landscape around there, and I mean, I've been before lockdown, I was on a bit of a mission to explore around basically all of the waterfalls down from the Illawarra as far down as I could find waterfalls on Google Maps. So I did
from Macpass sort of onwards.
Did Cascade Falls one weekend, and then a couple of weekends later went and did Rainbow and 2 or 3 of the other falls up on the Macquarie Pass rivulet, and I then lined up to go to Minamurra, but then COVID hit, so I'm halfway through it. Not even halfway through.
you kind of limited at Minamurra because you can just go out onto that
the platform,
that viewing platform, and there's heaps of people there, and it's a bastard of a walk up that hill too.
That's true. I tend to try and go when it's raining though, so the people are a little bit less.
No one else goes.
Although when I did Rainbow, it was pretty wet, pretty slippery going up there. I don't know if you've done Rainbow before, but
no, I haven't.
The first part of the track, about 4Ks, is it's a road. It's pretty good. You just can't drive there because they got.
Is that
Macquarie Pass National Park?
Is that Clover Hill track?
Yeah, Clover Hill track. Yeah.
Okay. I've done Clover Hill track. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but that last bit where you start getting into the bush and going up and down when it's raining and it's slippery, it's a lot of fun. But then you go climbing over the top of a couple of boulders and you see that big balanced boulder on the top there in the middle of the waterfall.
That's amazing, isn't it? That rock. I'm just going to look at it. I just look at it and wonder how it got there.
Yeah, I poked my head over the sort of boulders there to take a look, see if there was a shot there, and it was just like, oh wow, couldn't get the tripod set up fast enough. Yeah,
I think until you get someone to stand under it, you don't really like in a photo.
Yeah, well, it's about 10 meters across, I reckon. The boulder, it's huge. How it got stuck there, I don't know. I'm glad it's there though. I
don't know, mate. You don't want to be the person that's under it when it does.
No, when it decides to let go. No, definitely not. Definitely. Speaking of that, you've had a lot of adventures. Obviously, any misadventures that you've had when you're out and about? Too many,
mate. Wouldn't say misadventures. I mean, just plenty of long drives to get there, and plain blue skies or. Just disappointing conditions, I guess, and you feel like you've just driven for 6 hours for no reason. You try and make something out of it, but it's still pretty tough. No one likes a plain blue sky. Well, everyone but a photographer likes a plain blue sky, I should say.
Yeah, the tourist guys like it.
No, I can't say. Yeah, that's right. I can't say I've had any misadventures. I'm pretty lucky in that I do my homework before I go.
Yeah.
As far as weather goes and stuff, there's always going to be times where clear skies lies quite often.
Yep.
But mate, it's just one of those things you got to deal with. So,
yeah, definitely.
No misadventures. I'm pretty lucky, mate. I just crack on anyway. I mean, what do you do? That's just the way it goes.
Yeah, fair enough. So you talked a bit about your shooting kit. What are you shooting now?
Mine, I'm on a Canon 5DS.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool, 50 megapixels. So you got a fair bit of cropping factor.
Yep.
Which is good.
Yeah, you can blow them up nice and big too if you need to. Yeah.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. We've also to go along with that. I did have a 6D Mark II.
Yep.
I palmed that off to Vanessa.
Southern
Images. She was looking for a frame camera. I was just looking to get rid of one, to be honest. It just sat in my bag, mate. I'm not one of those people who pulls out two cameras, and you don't really need it for landscape, I don't think.
No, I'm totally with you.
Yeah, I got a GoPro that sits in my bag that I use for time lapse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
On top of that, so I've got the 24 to 105 lens.
Yep.
And then I've got a 17 to 40 mil, which is probably what I use the most these days. And then I've got a Tamron 150 to 600.
Yep.
I love it. Things magical. You can see people changing their minds when you head out to 600 mil, mate. It's great. Super sharp. No issues with the lens, and it's really half the price of everything else in its range, mate. And it's
right.
I've not had an issue with it. It's a fantastic lens, and I like to actually shoot a bit of landscape with it at a distance. You get some quite good effects.
You get that nice compression factor when you, particularly with 600 mil, you get a lot of compression there.
Absolutely. And it's that and just some Nissi filters, mate. I'm pretty good at smashing Nissi filters. Anyone that knows me knows I've proved them wrong with their unbreakable filter. Smashed on your nose. Yeah, that's the first thing I smashed. Just a 6-stop and a 10-stop.
Yep.
Actually, I'm down to a 6-stop. I smashed the 10-stop, and then I've got a soft 3 grad and a medium 4. And then just a CLP.
Yeah.
Mate, that's probably it, and a Pluto trigger.
Okay, cool.
So use the Pluto trigger a little bit these days for star trails and things like that.
Yep.
It's just handy to keep your hands off the camera, as you know.
Yeah.
So you can just
I'm using I'm using the Canon connected app to
Canon app. Yeah, and I use that with the 6D. That was great.
Yeah, it's actually the reason why I bought the 6D Mark II was because the wireless capability and the ability to not touch the thing, no vibration.
Yeah.
Play with the shot on the, and I just love the fact that you can change all the settings and away you go, and bang, you can you can do pretty much everything you want.
You definitely can't do that with the 5DS.
No. Still, I'm not getting 50.
Yeah, with the 5DS, I have to get a beautiful. With the 5DS, I have to get the wireless sort of SD card that you put in.
Yeah, the little dongle thing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain. I just don't bother, mate. I just, like I said, I just shoot with the Pluto trigger. I think they're great. I bought the entire kit for the water droplets and stuff, and I've not used any of that yet. But there's a COVID project right there, I think. Yeah, I've seen a few people pulling them out lately. So
same here. I've seen obviously people getting sick of not going out, so they're doing it in the kitchen.
Yeah, well, there's that, mate, and just going back through, I think you can definitely go back through old photos and re-edit, especially from the start. Your style from I go back 800 photos in Instagram and look at the first photos I was churning out and just think, Jesus, never would have done it like that. It's good to go back and edit and just see how far you've come. I think it's
absolutely, and that's what I've been doing with a lot of mine is just taking them out and having another look and just as you say, in some cases just going straight back to the raw rather than picking up the edited version and
really start from scratch.
Yeah, and just give it another go over and see. I mean, see. If you liked what you had, try and replicate it or better it,
Yeah.
But, it's and for me, I've really enjoyed the process of just going back because normally I don't have time. I'm normally creating more and more images, so I'm just working on the latest 2 or 3 sets that I shot rather than.
Sure.
Yeah.
I went and created a whole bunch of presets for myself.
Yep.
So I find I can get a good base off the start of sort of what I'm after.
Yeah.
Whether it be whether you're looking for something soft or cool blues or whatever, you can sort of hit your preset button, get that little bit of a start, and then just sort of work on it from there and add highlights or whatever you want to do, or darken, sharpen as you go around the image. But
so when you're shooting, are you shooting brackets or are you shooting just trying to get it all in one shot? Or it depends?
It depends on the day. It depends on the day. I think if it's somewhere like we were saying before, like Summersby, where you've got that much depth in the photo.
Yeah, where you've got the high dynamic range. Yeah, you might have a bit of sunlight over here, which is harsh, and then deep shadow over there.
Yeah, and yourself, the flow of water there, on one side it can be flat chat, but next to nothing on the left side. You're either going to get bright white and white yourself out just to get a few drops on this side. So you definitely have to bracket somewhere like that, and you definitely have to focus stack or two, I think.
Yeah.
Anything's great for Insta. You can pretty much just take, like you said, get away with one shot.
Yeah.
But if you
want to print,
it definitely shows when you print it.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you are, I mean, aside from putting stuff on the wall, I try and do. I mean, every trip away, I do a book.
Nice.
But I try to do sort of a book of a best of book, if you like, each year. And part of that is just being able to look back, see them in print, but just being able to look back and see, back in 2013, 14, this is what it looked like, and now in 2021, it's a very different book. I
mean, I think it's great to look at a photo on a screen and whatnot, but nothing beats print at the end of the day. To see it printed on a wall, or just in a photo that you can hold in your hand or put in a book or whatever. I don't think there's nothing that beats that. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to see your work on a wall.
Oh, absolutely. So you got. I know you got involved in the IGAP gallery there for a little while. Tell us a bit about that and how you got involved.
Mate, I just got a message from Tom, one of the owners of IGAP, one day, and asked me if I'd be interested in showing my work on a wall, and he wanted to have a chat. And he rang me that afternoon, and we had probably about a 30, 40-minute chat just about photography and stuff in general and some of the things we've done. And Tom's actually been to Iraq as well and done a lot of photography there, so we had quite a bit to chat about. He just hit me up, and I just thought it'd be good, and I think the first one I put 4 prints in.
Yeah, cool.
And did all right. I got pipped at the post by Patrick Tangi.
Okay.
His helicopter shot of Ayers Rock, and I had one of Lador Falls with the red rock at the bottom. So he pipped me at the post and beat me for the win. But mate, it was a good experience. And it's just I find IGAP, it's great to just get there and put names to faces. They've done really well in gathering a lot of interest and getting people there. And half the time, I have a quick browse of the photos and stuff, and I appreciate what everyone's done. But it's great just to meet the people. And,
I know what you mean.
Which is unusual for me because I steer clear of people most times. But I think it's great, mate. And I met some great people there, and I've actually been in Goss, and I talk to Carmel all the time online.
Yep.
It was great to meet her there, and and just have that proper conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
hard to do that on social media, isn't it?
No, you can have a chat, but who wants to text all day?
Yeah.
You can text for 40 minutes and get out one sentence, where you can have a chat for 5 minutes. It's So, mate, it was really good, and I'll stick with IGAP. I've done 4 exhibitions with them now.
Yep.
Lucky enough to come away with a couple of wins. The last one, I did the one with the model and all to do with PTSD.
Oh yeah.
So that was really good, mate. Because it got it gets people talking. It was all about starting a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
About PTSD and mental health, which is quite a big thing these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's another avenue for photography, mate. Is just to get a message across. However you want to convey it, I guess. I was just lucky enough to be able to do it with a great friend of mine who's happened to be a model. So
that's great. So you've been with another group, the Continent 6 on Instagram. So tell us a bit about that. What's that about?
Mate, I guess like anything, you just want to give back.
Yep.
So we sort of started the page. We all sort of got a bit busy now, I guess. We probably should pick it up again. So we sort of let it go a bit. Rosie from Rosie Photos stays strong. She keeps posting. The rest of us have been pretty slack I must say. But mate, I just think it's nice to give back and photos,
So it's just about resharing other people's work that catches your eye.
Yeah, mate. It was it was nothing to do with me or anything like that. It's just nice to reshare photos and try and show the best of Australia. And there's plenty of those pages. I mean, we
there's
try
a
to
mile
sort
of
of
them
put a
out
different
there.
spin on it. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, mate, that's all it was. It's no big thing, and if we can get someone out there and spread their name and get them some more followers and show their work, then that's what it's all about. It's all about sharing, I think.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally with you. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I started this thing was to sort of, get some people, A, that I knew, but also some, people that I don't know. And, I'm trying to get people that have inspired me and my photography a little bit, and try and talk to them about what's going on in their world, Part of it is, I'm bored because there's nothing to do. I can't go out. So.
Mate, but it's a good thing, and I think there's some great stories out there of
our absolutely
people involved in photography and
I don't want it again. I don't want it to be about me and what I'm saying. I want to listen to you guys, because
and it's good. Like I listened to the first podcast. I listened to your second one again today on the way home. So
brilliant.
Mate, I think it's good. I find it quite interesting to listen to other people's stories and see what they're shooting, see what their interests are, and sort of why they got into it. There's that whole mirrorless and DSLR debate at the moment. Where do you go?
Yeah. I'm still DSLR, but I don't know. I think mirrorless is the future, but I just haven't finished. Haven't paid off the investment. I don't think of.
And that's my thing. I'm trying to justify the price, but I get quite jealous every time I see Matt Barry take his Olympus and just wash it under a tap. It's really starting to get to me. Because I've got to come home and scrub the shit out of the Canon and get all the salt and off it. Matt just stands there under a shower. So I had a chat with him about it the other day, about his mirrorless Olympus. So who knows? I could swap back yet. He's got me thinking.
No, it's seeing him do that. It's got me thinking as well. I'm going to be talking to him in a little while as well in another episode, hopefully. So
awesome.
So I might hit him up about it and get the
mate,
and get just the Olympus out.
Had enough of him.
So who else? Sorry,
who else inspires me? I won't say. I guess I won't say inspires, but I admire a lot of photographers. And there's some, and it's not just, I don't think it's all about how good you are with the camera either. There's people I just admire because they just get out there constantly. Like Matt Barry's a great photographer, Benny Stone, Chungy's another one. Like Chungy's amazing.
Yeah, he's got some
amazing. All these blokes take super duper photos, and and when you see them out on site and you're taking photos, they're actually good to hang around with and have a laugh. And whether you're sitting waiting for a storm to come in that never eventuates, which is usually me. All that stuff's good fun. So, I admire people that just get out there, mate, and make a crack of it and aren't afraid to try. Vanessa from Sabi V, she's a prime example, mate. She was all set to go to Africa before COVID. She just wanted to learn how to shoot animals. She was off to Africa. And I said, look, I'll teach you how to shoot landscape. If you can shoot long exposure, you can shoot anything, because once you know how to manipulate the camera, you're good to go. And she's come on in leaps and bounds.
Yeah, no, I really like where her work's going.
Yeah, mate, she does some great stuff, and and she doesn't even drive, mate. She gets on bloody buses and trains.
Oh, you're joking? Wow.
Goes off to places like she gets up earlier than me. Crazy. And another one she would have popped up in the last few months is Deb Kawada from the Macedon Ranges to Adventure.
Yeah.
I first saw her photos of just her and her little bloke out in the fields. I thought they're amazing, these amazing self-portraits.
Yeah.
And now she's just whipping out these, beautiful foggy shots and bloody, these amazing sunrises and cloud formations they get down there. I need to go for a drive, I think. It's
definitely.
Pretty awesome down there.
Yeah,
so
nice.
It's another good way of seeing other places too, I guess, with all these people. But, there's others as well, like Carmel. Carmel Montgomery's a great photographer, mate.
Yeah, she's out there every day taking photos, and I mean, some of her stuff is just amazing as well. Yeah, totally.
Super portraits, like she's great at capturing these super candid photos, and gets caught all the time, and it makes it that bit better, when she gets caught and they're having a laugh or something. I think, she takes some amazing photos. Henry, from HRM.
Yeah, HRM,
he takes some amazing photos, mate.
Yeah, cool.
Simon, as you know, Simon is a whiz on the drone with his drone photography, and I was talking to him the other day actually on the podcast. So again, he'll be one of the ones coming up, popping up in the future.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, mate, and there's plenty more. Every time I jump on there's someone new to look at and someone new to follow. And mate, I just enjoy, like all of us, we go down that Instagram rabbit hole and you just find yourself looking at photo after photo after photo.
Doom scrolling.
There's a couple of hours gone past and you've liked 200, 300 photos. And
so you thought you'd double your work and join Twitter?
Yeah, well, it's just the way Instagram was. Excuse me, it's just the way Instagram was going. I think with the
this whole TikTok thing,
moving towards that TikTok sort of thing, and mate, I don't know how long Twitter will last. It's annoying me already, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's probably just
depends on who you follow.
Yeah, probably because of that. And I probably just don't take the time to work it out, or I just sort of.
I've been on there for about 10 years, and probably the first 5 or 6 years, I didn't tweet anything. I was just looking at news and politics and all that sort of thing. And to be honest, it used to make me angry. and then probably about 3 years ago ish, found a bunch of photographers on there. And they're mostly young kids over in kids, I call them. For me, my kids are all adults, so
mine too, mate. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, so they're kids to me, but they're out there shooting film, and they're there's a small group of them that I've got chatting to over in the US, and one of them is going to be on the podcast too in an upcoming episode.
Yeah, great.
And they're just doing some amazing stuff, I think, and mostly on film, right? And then digitizing it and sharing it on Twitter. So I found a couple of photography groups there, and just kept sort of expanding the photography sphere, and that's just drowned out all of the politics and all the cranky stuff that used to make me angry. So
yeah, mate, I probably need to do more of that. I get super frustrated with people's stupidity. I just got to learn to bite my tongue, I think.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. But going back to film photography stuff, there's a guy he's a former military guy. He's actually my first corporal in the Army, Paul Wheeler.
Oh, yeah.
Mate, he shoots with all sorts of cameras, mostly film. Mate, he develops in coffee and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
and comes up with these, really cool images. So he's definitely one to look out for, Paul Wheeler Photography.
Yeah, no, I'm
Does some
following
good
Paul,
stuff.
but yeah, and anyone out there, if
Yeah,
you're not following him, get onto him.
yeah, he's good. He just you can shoot with anything. You can give him a pinhole camera and he'll go to town with it. So he's good.
I've seen some people doing. Bloke, he's actually built himself a wooden pinhole camera.
Yeah.
So he's basically got a single block of wood, and he's chopped a piece off the top, and then routed around that so that it fits, gives you a light, tight fit. And then he's put in, put in 2 drill holes at either end for the film rolls and everything, and this little pinhole in the front, and it's just astounding. And he's even got a little screw mount for the tripod and everything. So.
Yeah, some fluey people out there, mate. I'm not one of them that far, but
I was never that good at woodwork at school, so.
No, me either, mate. I was a tech drawer.
I was more into art and tech drawing than the woodwork and metalwork myself. So what do you do to keep motivated? Do you ever get in a rut, or do you just ignore the ruts and keep going?
No, I think everyone gets into ruts, mate, where you have times where you don't go out and take photos, but I think it's more you sort of run out of time.
Yep.
And then when you run out of time and you're not going out and taking photos, you just fall into a routine of not taking photos.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a rut. I just fall into that routine of not going out. So but it only takes one good shoot to get a couple of good photos, and then you're excited about.
Yeah, it gets the juices flowing again.
That's right. Or, you get a new bit of kit, you buy a new filter or a new lens, or something like Vivid will pop up. Or someone posts big swell coming in. Next thing you're out,
that's
everyone goes from landscape to surf photographer.
That's it.
So it's good. It's challenging. It's I love getting down there and photographing surfers. It's a totally.
Oh, I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, it's totally different, mate. To see the power of the ocean and just seeing blokes get cleaned up.
Yeah.
Wondering.
Well, I went out the Gary Graham, the guy that I was talking to on the episode that.
That's when I listened to.
Just released episode 2. He took me out to Eastern Creek because he managed to get us a pit pass and everything with Audi Racing, which is where he's doing a lot of work at the moment. And it is, just the speed of everything is just completely different. You're rattling off a lot more images than I'm used to, and you're doing it at high speed, and you're letting the ISO auto and everything else is sort of just focused on getting that focus point, so that you're getting a nice sharp clean shot of the cars with enough spin on the wheels. So it's a real balancing.
Yeah, that's right. A bit of movement. Yeah, mate, it's definitely not an easy subject to shoot.
No, but totally different to shooting landscapes, obviously, because so it's one of the reasons why I do landscapes. You can take your time. You can long as you set up early enough, as you say, you got to be there.
That's right.
Well before sun up if you're going to do sunrise, and an hour or so before sunset before you do sunset, so you can get everything ready to go. But once you're ready to go, you just take your time and relax and enjoy the process. Yeah,
and you get time to watch it. I think if with things like that, you're more behind the camera, just concentrating. You don't actually see what you're doing. So much. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that
back
was
and watch a sunrise and just click.
With the racing, that was for me one of the things that I noticed a bit was you kind of had an idea about what was going on with the racing, but you weren't really able to sort of sit back and just enjoy it for what it was.
Yeah.
You were concentrating on how do I line this shot up? How do I get everything in frame? How do I get it in focus, etc., etc. So very different.
No one needs to do it, mate.
Yeah. So what's Matt Cameron doing when he's not out shooting?
Working. So where it is, work and shoot, mate. Work and shoot. I just work, mate. If I'm not working, I'm sort of chilling out, trying to get workouts in.
Yeah.
I still train. I've still got a lot to do with the training of soldiers. So that's pretty much what I do, mate.
Cool.
Chill out, bit of Netflix. A lot of, if I get bored, I just open up the computer and start creating, whether it's a photo that I've worked on before or I love getting a couple of photos together and just, making a composite. I think the first time COVID broke out, so we probably missed that this time, but, Michael Brinkat did this amazing composite image of, sort of this floating piece of land, with like a snow globe over the top. And I just thought it was awesome. I'm going to get into that. So I started creating. I think Matt Finn came up with a couple as well.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah, I've been playing around with a few composites recently. I just posted one last night actually, which was a nice tight zoomed in shot from Taronga Zoo Wharf of the Opera House in Barangaroo, and then whacked a spiral sort of star trail behind it. So
nice.
Why
not?
A, because I can. B, because nothing better to do, and I can't get out and shoot other shots. So I might as well grab something.
So it keeps you out of trouble.
That's it. Keeps me out of the wife's hair.
That's right, mate. Yeah, happy wife, happy life, eh?
Absolutely. All right, I've got one more question for you, and it's probably the most important. Pineapple on pizza?
No way. Never, mate. No
so
pineapple.
You're a
no bloody anchovies. Mate, I'm a straight up pepperoni pizza.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That's the way I roll.
I haven't been keeping count. I should probably keep count. I'll have to go back through and see how people.
These are life changing answers.
Absolutely.
Mate, I'm straight pepperoni pizza kind of guy. I don't. I'm no fuss. Thin and crispy as well.
Fair enough. All right. Well, thanks so much for talking to me, Matt. I've really enjoyed catching up with you, and it's been fantastic to hear about what you've been up to. And where can people find your work?
Mate, just on Instagram at 006.pix, Pix. I'm on Twitter under the same, if you want to be bothered with it. I'm probably not as bothered as you are. And, mate, you can find me on Facebook as well, or just hanging around the city streets of Sydney when I'm up. We're not in lockdown.
All right. Well, thanks very much, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I hope everything goes well for you.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it, and thanks for the chat.
No worries. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks again for listening to Landscape Photography World. I hope you enjoyed the show, and keep listening because I'll be joined with some great guests in upcoming episodes. You can find my work in this podcast on grantswinburnphotography.com. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm Grant Swinburne, and I hope to see you out shooting soon.